In my public school where we had like 40 students in one classroom, and I was always amazed that my teachers knew all of our names after the second day of class.
Steven Spielberg is an American director, screenwriter, and producer. His name is synonymous with film, and his career spans over 4 decades. Some of his most famous movies include Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and Indiana Jones. Spielberg is the recipient of various accolades, including 3 Academy Awards, including 2 Best Director wins, a Kennedy Center Honor, a Cecil B. DeMille Award, and an AFI Life Achievement Award. Time magazine named him one of the 100 most important people of the century in 2013. 9 of his films have been inducted into the National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
I leave that to Katie. I don't know. I think we only do real blowouts on like the decade birthdays, and the in-between I just want to be with my kids and my grandkids.
If you enjoy these videos, please remember to hit the like button, as it does help us out a lot. And comment below who your favorite celebrity is that you'd love to see in an upcoming video. His full name is Steven Allen Spielberg, but he's also known as the King of Entertainment. He was born December 18, 1946 in Cincinnati, Ohio, making him 75 at the time of this production. He stands 5 feet 7 inches tall. Spielberg is an avid boating enthusiast. He's also a collector of old film memorabilia. He owns brag-worthy trinkets like a balsa rosebud sled from the set of Citizen Kane and Orson Welles' own directorial copy of the script for 1938's The War of the Worlds. He's a huge fan of the actors Steve Martin, Bill Murray, and Robin Williams. He's a fan of video games and says their development is intriguing to him. He's a fan of the works of Carl Banks and cites them as a big inspiration for his storytelling. He famously refused to accept a salary for Schindler's List, calling any money earned blood money. He instead directed all proceeds owed to him in perpetuity to be used to fund the USC Shoah Foundation in 1994, which honors and remembers Holocaust survivors. He claims Richard Dreyfuss as his alter ego. He's the godfather of Drew Barrymore and Gwyneth Paltrow. He often casts new actors based on their performances in other works. He rarely requires auditions for major roles. He's an Eagle Scout and was on an advisory board for the Boy Scouts of America. He left this position because he did not agree with the fact that the Boy Scouts of America discriminated against homosexuals. In 1985, Spielberg and his first wife, Amy Irving, had their son, Max Samuel Spielberg, together. The couple would divorce in 1989 after 3.5 years of marriage. They cited competing stresses in their careers as the main cause of their falling out. Their divorce was reportedly the 3rd most costly celebrity divorce in history at the time. He got remarried on October 12, 1991 to actress Kate Capshaw, who he'd met when she was cast in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Capshaw converted to Spielberg's religion, Judaism.
And West Side Story is my next love story. But that was my first love story. I really considered the way those kids felt about E.T. and the way the adults felt about E.T.
His mother, Leah Adderer, was a concert pianist, and his father, Arnold Spielberg, was an electrical engineer involved in the development of computers. Steven's childhood was spent in Haddon Heights, New Jersey, and Scottsdale, Arizona. It was in Scottsdale as a teenager where a young Spielberg would create 8mm short films. At age 12, he made his first movie when he filmed a train wreck involving his toy Lionel trains. Even back then, Spielberg had the gall to charge 25 cents for the local kids to come and watch his many epics. At the age of 13, Spielberg won an award for his 40-minute film about war called Escape to Nowhere. At the age of 16, he made his first feature-length film, Firelight, which was played at his local cinema. Unfortunately, his parents eventually divorced, and he moved with his father to Saratoga, California, where Steven attended and graduated from Saratoga High School. After graduation, he applied to the University of Southern California School of Theater, Film, and Television, but was rejected 3 times. Instead, he attended Cal State Long Beach, where he became a member of the Theta Chi fraternity. His career did not begin until he worked at Universal Studios as an unpaid intern for the editing department. It was during this time that Spielberg directed a 24-minute short film, Amblin, which caught the eye of Sidney Shainberg, who was then the vice president of production for Universal's television division. Spielberg became the youngest director to ever sign a long-term contract with a major studio. During his time as a television director, he directed episodes of Rod Serling's Night Gallery, Columbo, and Marcus Welby, MD. These ventures were so successful that he was signed on to shoot 4 made-for-television films. It wasn't until 1975 that Spielberg's career skyrocketed with the success of Jaws. In 1981, he teamed up with longtime friend and fellow filmmaker George Lucas to create Raiders of the Lost Ark. Between 1982 and 1985, Spielberg produced 3 incredibly high-grossing and acclaimed films: Poltergeist, he also co-wrote the screenplay, The Twilight Zone, and The Goonies. Stevens' career would continue to create more massive hits such as 1991's Hook starring Robin Williams, AI, Artificial Intelligence, Minority Report, and Jurassic Park, a legendary film that needs no introduction or explanation. He continued his dramatic work throughout the 2010s with movies like War Horse, Bridge of Spies, Lincoln, and The Post.
And, Spanish is needed to find its own place. And if I subtitled the Spanish, I would have been doubling down on the English.
His annual income is $150 million. Currently, Stevens' $8 billion fortune makes him the second richest celebrity on the planet, behind good buddy and fellow director-producer George Lucas. For his own films, Steven frequently opts for relatively low upfront salary, $10 million, in exchange for back-end points on the gross revenue. One such deal for 1993's Jurassic Park resulted in a $250 million payday. That's the same as roughly $360 million in today's dollars. He earned at least $150 million from the sequel and $75 million from the third installment, which he didn't even direct. He has a net worth of $8 billion. Stephen and Kate own at least $200 million worth of real estate. For many years, they owned a 1.4-acre slice of Malibu's most coveted beachfront. They bought the first of the parcels that became their final property back in 1989 for $3.375 million. They expanded their footprint in 2002, purchasing the lot next door for $3.2 million. They sold the property, which has 150 feet of ocean frontage, in 2015 for $26 million. Their longtime primary residence, which they still own today, is an incredible 5-acre multi-home compound in the Pacific Palisades. Not far from their home, they also own an equestrian facility. On the East Coast, they own a 6,000-square-foot New York City apartment that directly overlooks Central Park West. Out in East Hampton, they own a 10-acre estate that's partially oceanfront and partially on a cove. The Spielberg compound encompasses 7.5 acres. In 2013, a nearby 5.5-acre property was put on the market for $75 million by a woman named Courtney Ross. He owns the following cars: an Aston Martin DB9 Volante, a Tesla Model S, a Chrysler 300C, He purchased a mega yacht, 282 feet, called the Seven Seas in 2013. He paid $182 million for it. He later put it up for sale and upgraded to a 300-foot yacht, costing him a whopping $250 million.